Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Craft Eccentricity. And I hope you're all going to have a wonderful day today. And I'm up this morning with an Eiffel store project share, but we're actually going to make it. I'm going to do a sort of taggy type card topper, and those butterfly dies and flowers that I showed to you yesterday. I'm going to be using a couple of those, but as my base layers, I'm using two of the larger tags from the set from KLJ UYP, and the biggest one is actually a planner page, so they kind of like scale down in size. I think there might be 5 in that set. Sorry, I'm moving my chair and my camera is wobbling. So I'm using that as my background, and then I'm using, I haven't poked that one out right, that flower set from Eiffel store, which is really, really pretty, and also a set of butterflies. But I need to explain the butterflies. These are the butterflies, and as you can see, there is black cardstock in there, and there's a reason for that. It's because I want to explain some of the bits that I've already done, and that is this. Cut in white cardstock, and then I used my Distress Oxide ink. But if I flip them over to show you, I've got double-sided tape on here. Now, I'm not peeling that section of the double-sided tape off. It's purely there because it held all of the pieces in the die. So you just take your tape and you would put it on top of there, covering all of those little bits, as you can see that I've done here. It looks a bit like mummy's bandages, but none of those pieces then will fall out. So pretends that this is white cardstock and we've just taped it all in like these, and then you would flip it over, and then you would get your little stencil or ink brushes, whichever ones you're using, and then you would colour through there. Right, once you've gone into those gaps, you're then left with your strongest colour, and then whatever little bit is left on your brush, complete the entire butterfly, and then it's two-tone. So once you've gone into your pot of ink, your Distress Oxide, you're going to get your strongest colour, which is the section that shows here. And then when you've popped it out, go over it again and get your paler bit. Right, so that's how I did those. But I am going to be changing a little bit of the colour of those in a second. But first, I wanted to show you these. I've cut them in black. And the little outline that I'm going to be left with, I am going to poke this out in its entirety. Just reaching over for a pokey tool. And we're going to start to release this. So, you know, make good use of all your pokey holes. Get the bits out that you may or may not need. And this is what we want here. So if you can see that. If I get my poke tool under there, I want that fine black outline. But at the same time, I do not want to tear it. So I'm just doing it piece by piece. Just go around it gently. And if you've got any delicate dies, it's always the best way to do it. Just a little bit at a time. Now, I don't think I'm going to need any of those bits there. But as you can see, we've got a great outline. But there's other pieces that we still need to, you know, pop out. So what I'm going to do, because these will pop out, I'm going to carry on poking and I'll come straight back. Right, so I did that, and that was super easy. And what I intend to do with this, I'm not going to use both of them because it would just be too much. But of course, I'm not going to waste my other one. But I think I just want to go yellow. So that's what I'm going to do. But I'm going to glue that on top of there. Now, if you get a good close-up, if I straighten it, you can see we've got little dots and stuff. Now, those bits are down here. So if I want to use those, the pieces are still on my desk. You can see here, look. I can actually go into there and poke that circle out, and whichever one it goes on to, I can pop it on there, which, you know, would give it a little bit more detail. But the one thing that I do want to do before I go ahead and glue on the black outline and any other bits that I want to put on there is I want to use this die again. So I'm just going to poke that and come straight back. Right, so as you can see, I've completely poked that section out, and I'm going to keep that in because, you know, I don't want to be wasteful and I want to be able to use it for something else. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to snip the two dies apart, because that's going to make life easier, and then I'll just trim that one up later and move that one out of my way. So I've got this one, and what I want to do is put this back in, and as I said before, we're not going to lose any pieces because I've glued everything down with the adhesive tape. Now I think that there's some sticky on there, I just have to push it. It's really humid here today, I have to tell you. And I'm going to move my other stuff out of the way and show you that I've cut the tags. I've done the larger one in black, I've done one in white, I've done one in the Snap Click Supply brushstroke paper that I showed the other day, and I've done my flowers in black because I wanted them to look, you know, a bit silhouette-y. So I'm just going to pop those there out of the way just for a second, and then I've got my other little butterfly bits which I don't know if I'm going to use or not, so I'm just going to move all of the bits up there. Right, and now I've got my scruffy little silicone mat, which is very useful. It's not huge, I mean I have got some big ones that I got from Amazon which I quite like, but I'm going to pop this down here now, and you can see it's slotted back into the die, but I want to add some more colour, and I'm not sure if I've got enough red on this brush. So first of all, I'm just going to have a little quick swizzle around, and no I haven't. So I've got barn door, and I don't want too much on my brush, so just a tiny little dusting. Pop that back down, and then I'm just going to sweep the edges just to give it a little bit more colour, and then I can squiggle it because a lot of that I think has worn off now. And I'm only really interested in putting colour in this section and this bit here. And of course, as you always know, if I go quiet, and don't worry about getting ink on your die, you can just rinse it and then, you know, just dry it straight away on a piece of kitchen paper. I might go a little bit darker on that side. Let's have a look. There, I might do the whole bit red there. And sweep that up there. Right, let's see what that looks like. Get it back out of the die, which should be quite easy. So that's a lot better. It's got a little bit more colour and dimension. And of course you can do as many different colours as you want to. I mean, as I've used inks, you could use different colour cardstocks and piece it back. Obviously that would be a lot more effort to do that, but you could certainly do that and have as much fun as you want. Right, so I'll pop that butterfly die out of the way, and I'm happy with the colour of this now. And if I squidgy widgy up here a little bit more, because I want you to see what I'm doing, and I'm going to test to see if my glue's going to come out on my mat. Yeah, this is what happens because I haven't used this glue bottle all weekend, which means I need to poke it with a pin to get it going. And if you're someone who likes to keep a pin in your glue bottles, if you've got needle tip bottles, make sure that they are stainless steel. Otherwise, they're going to go rusty and make your glue yellow and orange and all sorts of horrid things. So stainless steel is the best thing. Right, just make sure that I've got a good flow there. And now I'm going to take my black outline that you saw me poke out at the beginning. If you've got any jump pieces, I'll call them jump pieces, you know, when you go backwards and forwards with your machine and you might get like a little shard of paper, just try and get as much of that off as you can. So this now is going to have glue on it, and obviously it's the reverse. So I'm just dotting, and then once I've got this on, I can basically decide if I want to put any more of those little black pieces that are left up there. Now obviously you don't have to glue the entire thing, just as long as you've got it in the areas where it matters, like the outer edges, big long pieces. And also remember with glue that oxide or distress ink, once it starts to bleed on it, don't touch it, otherwise you're going to smudge your ink, because it kind of acts, I suppose, like water, and then it would fade out in certain places. I might put just a little bit there actually, and then go there. There's me saying you don't need to glue it all, and I'm putting glue all over everything. But isn't it great that we can use needle tip glue bottles now? Oh my goodness, can you remember years ago trying to get glue on? Wasn't it awful? I'm showing my age now. Right, okay, so that has got lots of glue on it, and this is Dollar Tree glue, and it's what I always use, and I just fill it up from this. I'll show you, if I can grab it, exactly what the bottle looks like. It looks like that, and one of these will last me a year. Obviously it's going to be $1.25 now because prices have gone up, but just $1, and it's 8 fluid ounces. And because you've got this cap here, when you unscrew this bit and tip it up, you can just squirt it straight into your bottle and then put this lid back on. So for me, it's just perfect, and it's cheap, and it works. Right, so now that's had a couple of seconds, and I'm going to lift it up without getting it all over me. And we're going to have to position this. I'll just wipe this glue up. And I always use my fingers to do it, because you get a bit and then it just comes off. Just rub your fingers together and it will peel. Now, as with all fine glued die cuts, you don't want to stretch it. So you want to go down pretty much where you need it, so that you're not manipulating it too much, because the fibres in paper will shift. And you can see I've got a bit of glue tape on that bit there that's sticking out, and I don't know if it's the humidity. And if I've got those down straight, then, you know, I consider that I'm doing all right. Sometimes you have to tuck things in, slide them over. Now, I've stuck that down, but I haven't pressed it. So that antennae, I think that's pretty much straight. You just have to remember that I can't see what you see. Like, that might need to go up there just a little bit. But I'm going to stick with that. And when I say I'm going to stick with that, it usually means I just put my hand on it. That's it. That's down now. So there's nothing I can do about it. That's the way that it's going to stay. And I just usually scoot along with my finger to get any rough bits off. But that bit of adhesive tape there isn't doing much at all. So I'm going to have to cut another piece and stick that down. And I'm going to do that right now. Like I say, it's extremely humid. It's quite grey as well, I think. So if my my light on my camera isn't showing stuff the way that it should, I do apologise. But I'm going to... See, that's what humidity does. That's double-sided tape. It just pulls the glue straight off onto your finger. So in a situation like that, I'll just fold it in half and utilise it to go where I need, and then tuck it back in. So that is that. Yep. Just make sure that I haven't pushed the black border out. There we go. So that is my flutterby, and it's got a little bit of fluff on it, but you know, I can get that off later. So that's how I put all those colours in there, and that's kind of like a little bit tortoise shelly, isn't it? So I'm now going to get that mat out of the way, and I'm going to bring in, I think I'm going to go the white, the yellow. I wasn't sure if I was going to use the black or not, but I kind of like that it's a bit matchy, if you know what I mean. And I'm just stacking my ink pads up. So I have to keep looking at my camera because I worry that I hit pause or something, you know, and I'm sitting here talking to myself for no reason. Not that I don't sit here and talk to myself anyway, but you know what I mean. Right. So I kind of like that configuration. And whenever I do a card topper, I usually match the hole. And this would go onto, obviously, a large rectangle card. And I kind of like try to offset it. I never do it straight, because if you do it straight, you get left with this huge border, which is okay if you want to do, you know, sort of like more flowers or something and a nice big chunky sentiment. But I'm just going to go a little bit more simple and think about having it just like that, just a little bit skew-if, and it would fit a large rectangle card if I wanted to. So I have got some double-sided foam tape, Dollar Tree again, and I'm just going to run it down here. I'm going to cut it off with the scissors, and then I'm going to put it all the way around, and I'll be back. Okay, so here's what this looks like, and I'm just going to peel the back out off the foam tape. And if you can still find foam tape at Dollar Tree, congratulations. I know that I'm going to be having to order some online and get it shipped to store, because I think I've probably got 4 rolls left, and I do get through an awful lot of foam tape. I'm sure we all do, really. And I think that that was my little corner veranda that I just threw. Right, so marry up the holes so that you can get ribbon on there and through there, and then flatten that down. And I'm a little bit off on a jaunty angle, but I can still get my ribbon up here. And then, I mean, if you wanted to, you could use the black one as well and go off in the other direction. Do you know what I mean? And just have a big chunky tag. That would look really nice hanging on a bag, actually. But I'm going with this, and then I'm going to need some kind of floral arrangement. But I'm kind of looking at this butterfly, and I'm thinking I want to put a little bit of red down there in the middle. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I want to darken that bit up a bit. So I've got the leftovers on my brush here, and I'm just sweeping those on. There. Yeah, I think I like that much better. So I've got a flutterby. It's going to need some foam on it afterwards, but I'm going to glue on my arrangement of flowers, and I've got them sort of like silhouette style here. And I'm not sure if I want to move them up and utilise the body of the butterfly to make the flowers look taller than they actually are. And I think that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I want my butterfly kind of like to be hanging over into the white section. I don't want to limit myself. And keeping my finger there, I've got these, and I'm going to pop glue on. So just a little bit on the tops, because you can still have, you know, your flowers poking out a little bit and have some movement. I want these bits to stick down, but once again, you don't have to put your glue all over them. Do need to make sure that you're hanging onto them though. Right, so that's about as much glue I think that I'm going to need on there. So flipping over and seeing exactly where my butterfly is going to come to, and I'm going to have that slightly hanging off the edge. That's what I'm doing. So take up the excess glue there, and then we can just stick these bits down. And as I said, they're going to go behind the butterfly, and I want to actually pop the butterfly up on foam. So I'm going to flip that over, and even though you can see, you know, as I said, it looks like a little bandaged mummy, that doesn't matter, because you can just put your foam straight over the top. Nobody will ever know how you held it all together. So that's on there. I'm going to peel this off. Pick that up and decide kind of, am I going a bit more straight? Am I going a bit more angles? How am I going with that? I'm going to go like that. Move that black one out of the way. So I dropped my camera down really, really low so that you can actually see. So I've got a little bit of hangover of flour, but I've got extra flowers as well, which is kind of nice. So you can start tying in your white one, which is behind. You can always trim off bits. And remember, this is going to go onto another card. So, I don't know. I kind of like having something down there. And then I think, having something up there. It's about making the whole thing, you know, feel like it all belongs to each other. Because it is, you know, it's just 2 tags. So I might trim a little bit off those leaves at the bottom and have those there so that you start to feel like it's a whole piece. So let me glue those 3 leaves down and I'll be straight back. Right, so I've done that and I've tidied up a little bit. I'm just going to move my scissors out of the way. And if you remember, I've got lots of little bits left from when I cut the outline in black. So I want to use these 4 little pieces because I just think that's going to enhance my butterfly a little bit more. And so I'm just going to put a little dot of glue there and there so I can see which way around these like little donut circles go. And I think the chunkiest bit goes to the outside edge. So I just want to pick that one up. And you can see my pickup tool actually needs sharpening. So shame on me. And then I need that one to go onto there. And I hope that I've got them on straight. But I just think that, you know, kind of finishes it a little bit. And then I've got 2 little dots here, so I want to do those. And of course you could also use crystals or anything that you wanted to if you wanted to jazz it up. So there's my little dots. And if I turn it to the side, you'll get a better view, but I will pick it up so that you can see it closer. And I've also got a little Goodwill haul to share with you. I only got 2 items, but they're 2 items I was quite pleased with. So first up, I'm going to pick this up and show you a close-up. Now, the glue is still a little bit wet. I just think that's a great way to do that butterfly. And that is a really nice chunky card topper. I mean, I don't know what colour ribbon I would put in there. It might even be black or a charcoal grey or something. But just really nice to have something just ready to go on a large rectangle card. I really like that. And of course it could be slimline as well. But imagine that just tied up with ribbon and hanging on somebody's gift bag. And there's still room to pop a little sentiment. Or to actually put a strip sentiment down there. But I just think those butterflies are lovely. Really, really easy to use. So, that is what we did today. Right, I'm looking at my clock. I'm going to pick my bag up now. And I've got to go mooching inside. Now, I saw this, which is a huge 3-hole punch, and I paid $4.99 at Goodwill. And I'm going to get it out the box. It needs a bit of a dust, actually, because when I went and fetched it yesterday, I haven't cleaned it up yet, but I'm going to clean it. But look at how big that is. I'm going to move the box out of the way. It is absolutely awesome. Awesome and huge, and it works. In fact, I'm going to measure the length of that. It is 10 inches. Yeah, that's how big that punch is. You can see how dusty it is. No one's really used it, but that is 10 inches long. I haven't got a clue how much it would cost for a huge 3-hole punch of this size. And it's got a big stainless steel gauge that slides out on it. So what will I use it for? I will use this for stamping and turning regular file folders into projects and being able to put pages and stuff in there. So, you know, $4.99 for such a huge, lovely punch. I was absolutely delighted. So I'll pop that back in the box. And my next thing is this. And these are, look how old they are. They're still wrapped up as brand new. And the date, 1997. How awesome is that? And there's the front. I got them for $1.99. So somebody obviously bought them years ago in a sale and paid $9.99 for them. I don't know where they would have bought them from. I don't think there's a name underneath this white tag. But it's going to be interesting when I do open them to see what kind of match to the current modern Prismacolor they are. Yeah, it just says for clearance. And I don't think there's anything else on there. It'd be really cool to find a store name or something, but I just don't think that it is there. Even if I peel it really, really gently. No. It says that the original price was $9.99 and that the clearance price was $6, and I paid $1.99. So really, really pleased to get those. And look at the packaging. Prisma pens are not in packaging like this anymore. So when I do actually get these out and test them, I'll come back, see if there was more pigment back then. I doubt it, because they seem, you know, pretty consistent, but I just thought it was really cool to find those. And they were right next to the punch. So it was like somebody was waiting for me to come in. Right. I thank you so much for watching. I do hope that you enjoyed that. And I haven't got a clue what I'm going to be up with tomorrow. I'm going to be up with something, but who knows? Just come back. I thank you so much for watching. And as usual, all links below. Bye.